Welcome back to another one of Nathan Bell's commentary videos. Give it a like, give it a share. Today Nate's going to talk to you about the Eyeman.
Oh yeah, well first I want to say we've got Andrew and Broughton jamming in the background and it sounds great, so you might hear a bit of that. But I've got this friend, the Eyeman. It's one of the most underappreciated people in the world, so I just wanted to do a shout out video to the Eyeman. Eyeman's a great spiritual master, the thing I like about the Eyeman, which I see in common with him, which I don't have in common with a lot of other people I meet, is that the Eyeman wants to heal the world. And I've always been about healing the world, so I'm into anyone who wants to heal the world. Alan here, my support worker, wants to heal the world. That's why he's a passionate activist. So I'm into anyone who promotes peace and love. So I met the Eyeman about 7 or 8 years ago, and it was interesting because at the time all my thinking on social issues and politics was really rooted in socialist action. I'd been involved with communist groups, and I'd been involved with the unions, and I'd been involved with socialist action. So I had extensive thoughts about how I thought the world should be then, and it was mostly rooted in agrarian communism. Anyway, I met the Eyeman, and Eyeman got me onto UFOs and spacemen, and it just blew my mind, So he enlightened me to because before that I wasn't a big thinker on alien life, and I didn't consider at length alien life. I had thought about it, but the Eyeman's an interesting man. Eyeman's taught me a few things, right? Eyeman explained to me his view that the universe, this is the nature of the universe, this is what the Eyeman tells me. The nature of the universe is that the universe is one collective unified consciousness which splits apart into individual parts to experience itself as individual lives. And that we are all part of the greater whole of the connected unified universe. So now I had thought about magical thinking like that before I met the Eyeman, but not until I met the Eyeman did I really consider what the nature of the universe was. And I don't have to prescribe to Eyeman's thinking, but I like Eyeman's thinking, this idea that there's a collective unified consciousness and that we are all one, and unified throughout the universe. So when I met Eyeman, I had a psychosis around the time I met Eyeman, and the interesting thing was Eyeman was also having a psychosis. And it was interesting, we're a couple of characters, because I had a psychosis where I was the Messiah, and Eyeman thought he was the Messiah as well. And it's kind of like, well, you can't be the Messiah because I'm the Messiah, and we can't both be the Messiah, or can we? Can there be more than one Messiah? Can we be a team of Messiahs changing the world together? Maybe we can be a team of Messiahs. But me and Eyeman went through a journey of knowledge and wisdom where we wanted to understand the nature of the universe, and we wanted to understand extraterrestrial life, and we wanted to understand science and politics. And it was when I met the Eyeman that it was around the time that I started getting into the freedom of information releases from the CIA, which really opened my mind to a whole new world of possibilities. And the point of this video is not to talk about the Eyeman, but it's to talk about this tradition that some cultures have of having a vision quest, right? Now, we don't have this in our culture, in Australian culture. We don't have a vision quest. In some cultures, the teenager will take psychedelic drugs or will explore knowledge and wisdom for a few years later in their teenage life. Now, I believe in a phase. In late teenage years, I think our society should adopt a phase in our late teenage years where we devote 3 to 5 years to pursuing knowledge of our place in the universe. See, we're not a very spiritual society, Australia, and when we are, it's always this Christian stuff. But I value the idea that individuals should seek meaning and purpose in the universe and should think about what the universe is and what their place in the universe is. Now, I consider that when I met the Eyeman, I started my spiritual journey to unravel the mysteries of the universe. And we studied and we read, and I did this and I did that, and I studied all this stuff about physics and history and everything. I studied everything and for quite a few years. I've told you this before in previous videos. And that was my journey of knowledge, and my few years that I devoted to coming to a better understanding of my place in the universe. And I consider that I reached a sort of enlightenment from that period in my life. Now, people around me have been, particularly psychiatrists, have been dismissive of the value of what I was doing in those years. But what I was doing in those years was trying to come to terms with my life, and to come to terms with mortality, and to come to terms and an understanding with the universe of why I was here and what this was all about. Now, in our society, we downplay that sort of thinking, and some people even go as far as to say they don't want to think about it because it's like it hurts too much or something. But we should, so I feel, and I can't tell anyone what they should do with their life, but I feel it's valuable to go through a few years where you have a vision quest, where you have a knowledge quest, where you ask the big questions about who you are and why you're here. So Eyeman is a spiritual master, and Eyeman also believes in the Galactic Federation, and Eyeman believes in some stuff that I don't believe in. Eyeman believes that the man Darryl Anka channels an alien named Basher who has all the answers. I don't know if I accept that, but we can disagree on things. But we went through this vision quest together, and it was a very powerful time in our lives. So, you know, Eyeman is a spiritual master in my view, and I just wanted to emphasize the importance of pursuing knowledge and having a dedicated period in your life where you ask the big questions and you try and figure out who you are, who you want to be, and what is the purpose and meaning you're going to find in this life. So drop your comments in the comment section about spirit quests and vision quests, and whether you've ever had a vision quest.